What was their reaction to this news?
We were there together. It happened Tuesday morning. Truthfully, it really did come as a surprise. Based on every action that the solicitor had taken since the shooting, it was obvious that she was focusing her attention on the victim and not on Lieutenant Tiller. For instance, she waited a long time before Lieutenant Tiller was even Mirandized, given his Miranda rights. She never did a toxicology blood test on Lieutenant Tiller to determine if there were any drugs in his system. But on a broader scale, we knew that this wasn't going to happen based on the rumors that were percolating through the county. We're not, we're disappointed, obviously, but we're encouraged by the outpouring of support around the world for, once the video was shown, it's obvious that Zachary was murdered. I mean, there's no other way to say it. There isn't a criminal justice academy in the world that would teach a police officer to do what Lieutenant Tiller did. From the start of how he came in, as fast as he was coming, before the drug transaction had an opportunity to be even started or consummated. He never identified himself as the police. He never showed his badge. He came up to the car with his gun drawn, screaming, "Put your hands up, stop, stop," but garbled it, but then said, "I will blow your effing A." So that is the intent that he had, even before any crime was committed. He told this 19-year-old young armed teen that he would blow his effing A off. And Zachary fled, no question about it. But there isn't glasses in the world that would indicate, if you put them on, that car was heading towards Lieutenant Tiller. It was arcing away from Lieutenant Tiller to leave the parking lot. And he was shot. He was shot in cold blood. There's no other way to say it. The solicitor she asked the right questions. She asked the right people. She did what an investigation was. She just got every single question wrong.
Well, I'm wondering why, because, it was extremely upsetting for me to speak with you and the Hammonds earlier this year and really hear and feel their pain. And this was before that dash cam footage, which is really startling, had even been released. So now that we've seen it, and we know that Tiller's claim Zachary was trying to run him over was false, we can see that, right? I'm going to ask a question that is probably what a lot of viewers at home are wondering. How is it even possible that Tiller's claims of self-defense were seriously considered in this case? How could this decision be made based on what we can see with our own eyes, let alone what you found in the independent autopsy you all ordered?
Right, that also confirmed that the shots were from the back. They weren't from the front like the police chief said. He didn't repeatedly ask Zachary to raise his hands like he said throughout the reporting of this over the last 3 months. The reason it happened is because South Carolina, unfortunately, gives tremendous discretion to local solicitors who are political figures who seek election. And Chrissy is up for election. She had lost in a nearby county that was part of her jurisdiction. And so we just believed from the start that this was a political decision by her for some of her constituents. And it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that our governor hasn't weighed in on this. None of the politicians have really weighed in on it, except one. Our House Minority Leader, Todd Rutherford, saw the video and has publicly stated it was outright murder. And I defy our governor to watch this video and come to the same conclusion that Chrissy Adams did, that this officer was acting in self-defense. You can't put yourself in harm's way and then claim I have a right to use deadly force. It would be simply as I start a fire, I go put it out, and then I get to call myself a hero. It doesn't work that way.
I want to turn, though, to what was kind of a disturbing element in the story, which was the attempt, like you already mentioned, for Adams to go after Zachary's character. Can you talk about the text messages that she released in this case?
Sure.
And how much of a role they played in her decision, and also just your response to those messages?
Oh, I absolutely believe that she decided early on that this wasn't a life that she was willing to prosecute a police officer for, because she passed judgment on Zachary and some of the things that he may have done when he was a juvenile. It is completely irrelevant. It would never be admissible because Lieutenant Tiller didn't know Zachary. He didn't know anything about Zachary, didn't know his identity. All the things that she's talking about or that she set forth in these text messages was not known to Lieutenant Tiller. And in our state and in our country, you judge the crime by the actions of the officer, not by the victim. It's like a rape case. If you start to condemn the victim and said that the victim dressed provocatively or she may have been flirtatious, you're totally distorting the judicial process. She did this to sully Zachary's name and to send out the message that he wasn't worth saving.
I want to jump
Zachary
in
was
quickly,
not
though. I'm sorry, we just have a little bit of time left, and